Hello people of the internet, my name is JD Shadow, and let's talk about the video I made on Wednesday. Let's talk about the elections, let's talk about Donald Trump being president, let's talk about all of those things, because I got a little animated on Wednesday, and I do a lot of this stuff where I like talk to myself off camera to think of, okay, what could I actually say about this whole thing? And I never actually sat down and actually record it. That was the first time I say, okay, I want to say this, I want to get down and actually record it. That's raw, pure emotion that I'm feeling. That was the first time I've ever done that, to be quite honest with you. Some of it could be overreacting, and some of it could be, what's the worst case scenario, or thinking about what the worst case scenario is going to be here. And be honest, a lot of people are going to do that. A lot of people are thinking that right now. And they don't know what's going to happen, because for one, Donald Trump campaigned a lot of the things that a lot of people are scared that he's going to do. And those are not something that the media spun or anything like that. Those are things that came out of his own goddamn mouth. And yes, the media is at fault for a lot of the stuff that happened. There were some things that they should have covered that they never did. But at the end of the day, there's a few things that need to be addressed. And one of the things is obviously the protests that are happening. First of all, stay safe if you are in one of those cities that are seeing the protests happen in. And there's a couple of cities, there's a few cities that those are happening in. I have no problem with the protests. Let's be quite honest, I'm no objection to those. Now, you may be thinking, JD, you were against the Baltimore riots. Why you were against this? Because protests are different from riots. When you start vandalizing buildings, when you start vandalizing things like cars or people's property, or you start endangering the well-being of other people, then that becomes a riot. There's a little bit of difference between what these people are doing, which is not a riot, that's a protest, which they're saying, hey, we're mad as hell, we're gonna make sure you hear us. And a riot which is, hey, we're mad as hell, let's go break down a few windows, let's go rob some people or buildings. There's a whole difference there. And that's why I was against those Baltimore riots, but I'm not objecting to the protests. As long as they're not infringing the rights of other people or not breaking any laws, the United States Constitution grants you the right to protest against your government. And that's what they're doing. What good is a freedom if you're not allowed to use that freedom? That's what I'm saying. And here's the other thing, is that most of those people are mad, not that Hillary Clinton lost, but that they're mad that Trump won. You could have put anybody up against Trump and they would have wanted them to win versus Trump. You could have put James Buchanan, Herbert Hoover, Richard Nixon, George Bush II back up there against Donald Trump, and they would have wanted them to win up against Donald Trump. That's how much they didn't like them. And let's be quite honest, Hillary Clinton had a bunch of flaws. She had a bunch of sins she didn't exactly atone for. There was a lot of things that needed to be addressed. The whole thing about the DNC and Bernie Sanders, everything else that happened there. And I don't want to go too much into it. But even with that, they were still willing to vote for her versus Donald Trump. That shows you just how much they didn't like him. And if you really did want to vote for Hillary, that's fine too, because you have that right to vote for whoever you want. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because there was a few people who didn't exactly like that I made that video, exactly like that I voiced those opinions. First thing first, this channel, I don't really go into politics that much because of exactly this, because it's so divisive and it's so polarizing, and it's going on things that are very sensitive to a lot of people. Way sensitive. That might be a problem right now, what we're going through right now, but it's a reality right now. That there's a lot of diversity, there's a lot of people that if you object to their political beliefs in even one letter, they go off and holy crap, it is going to be bedlam. There are some people who are that sensitive about it, who are ready with their finger on the button, ready to go to war with you on Twitter or on Facebook or what have you. And I've seen a lot of memes on Facebook. My personal Facebook feed have been littered with these memes with, like, okay, you want to go to a country, we'll let you go to another country or move to another country, which is, okay, it's kind of dumb. And you know what? The people who are saying that, they're just venting. Let them vent. Because, here's the thing. You guys who voted for Trump, who are saying that now, you probably didn't exactly like the fact that Obama got elected to a second term. You probably said the same thing. You're going to move to another country or something like that. It's the normal thing. People are going to say it. But the one thing that might end up happening is something that is probably a zillion one chance of happening. This might be the one chance, which is the Electoral College. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. Trump won the Electoral College vote. Now, everybody is saying that the Electoral College is a flawed system that needs to be abolished. One, what would this election cycle be if this didn't happen? And two, how much would it prove the Electoral College system is flawed? Then if this change.org petition is something that is actually listened to by the Electoral College and they say, you know what, something about Trump we don't like, we're not going to vote for him come December 19th or 20th, I forget the exact date. How would that really shake things up? I have yet to know about a time in which that actually occurred. That would put the cherry on top of the Sunday that is this crazy election cycle. What have we not seen yet? We didn't even expect a Trump win. We didn't even expect Trump to be the candidate for the RNC, let alone be elected president. Would that be something? The other thing is that I want people to understand why people are upset. And the other thing is, right now, we're seeing Donald Trump scale back a few things. He kind of scaled back this illegal immigrant thing and what he's going to do about deporting people or whatever. He's not going to build the wall, the Great Wall of Mexico. He's going to do a double-layer fence. And that's kind of stupid anyway, because you kind of need guards to see through, and I'm not sure how you're going to do that without putting a platform above the wall. He's willing to keep parts of Obamacare, and that was the one thing that I think, there were a few things, it is flawed, it's not broken, it needs fixed. It needs amendment to what I think should be in there. It's a public option. That's the one thing that I think should have been kept in there, and that was a disaster when that was taken out, because all it really did, well, it did some good things, but it's flawed. It needs some fixing. I just haven't seen anybody in the GOP have an alternative. And it just seems though, I've heard some people say that whatever Trump put out there recently is something that can be seen as, okay, this is not that bad, it's not terrible. And the other thing is, I'm scared that he's going to repeal the gay marriage legalization. That's one thing that I am really adamant about. It's one thing that I don't want to see happen, because I have a lot of friends that are homosexual that have benefited from that. I think that everybody should be equal under the Constitution of the United States. That's one of the things that I think, okay, he's going to appeal this, he's going to appeal that. I don't want to vote for him because of that, because I don't think that he's going to do good for those people, or he's not going to address the issues I want him to address. If there's one thing I think Electoral College will look at, if anything, it's this Trump University lawsuit, which seems to not really be anything the judge is budging on. That's going to happen while Trump's trying to transition into power, which is going to be something if he has to go into court and do that at the same time. Good luck with that. That is the one thing I think, if the Electoral College is going to switch their vote, that's the one thing that'll do it. Because that is something that might become a fraud case. He might be hit with a bucket load of lawsuits, which he might lose. I don't know if you can try a criminal case on that, or if anybody's actually tried to go criminal on that. But, I don't know, maybe it's just civil. Somebody smarter than me can post down below to tell me whether or not you can actually file a criminal case, and if so, has there anybody been considering it or has done it? Because I haven't followed that completely. And finally, there's a few things that I want to address. One is that I think Donald Trump needs to prove that he's going to be a good president, and so far, I think that with all the harassment of people who voted for Hillary or didn't vote for Trump, or are afraid for their well-being in the country, or who are minorities, or people who are being harassed for them being minorities. I think Donald Trump has to come out and say something. I think he needs to say something definitive right away, because it's not going to tone itself down. And if he himself comes out and says, hey, we denounce and we condemn these actions against these minority groups or these ethnic groups, then what will happen is that then, if they keep doing it, now they're saying, hey, the person you voted for person who you supported, is now coming out saying, you shouldn't do this. Are you going to go against the person you voted for? That will put that into context. And that will also say, hey, maybe it's not that bad. Who knows? He might be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he was to California. Yeah, he had faults, but I don't know. I don't think Arnold Schwarzenegger did completely bad in California from what I heard. I mean, I live in Ohio. I mean, good Lord. California is like on the other side of the country. Somebody might want to say if there was anything he did that was wrong, or how he was looked at through the eyes of a Californian. It may be something like that, where, like, okay, maybe he is a good president. Maybe he does deserve 4 more years. Maybe, I mean, prove us wrong. That's what we're saying. Everybody who said, oh, Trump's going to do this, going to do that, he needs to prove them wrong. He needs to win them over. But here's my final word on this, and I want people to really hear this out. Regardless of what my viewpoints are, and you're free to have your own opinions, you're free to have whatever opinions you want, you can free to disagree with me. No one's saying you have to agree with me. But this channel here has been a geek gaming culture channel that it's not just a mantra, it's something I really take to heart about this, because I want to combine everything that I feel I have some passion in, and I want to continue to provide that. But also, yeah, I do cover news stories. Yes, I do cover some things about, very rarely, or I'll cover something about politics, and I feel like I want to talk a lot about it right now. I'm stopping myself from doing that, because I don't want that to become the main focus of this channel. But and I do cover news stories, but it's also something where I share my thoughts about things. And yes, they're going to be biased, because that's my opinions. Opinions are meant to be biased from an objective point of view. The problem is when your opinions are bought by a third party saying, hey, if we give you money, will you give this opinion about a certain thing? Will you talk nice about a certain product or about a certain person? That is when there's a problem. If I go with the majority opinion, then it's because I generally feel as though that is something I would agree with. Same thing if I go with a minority opinion. It's still something that I would agree with. It's something that I feel as though I generally feel as though I can take to heart. And that's just something that people who watch this, you guys know that I'm very opinionated about what things I say, or what things that I talk about. And I do hope that people do respect that. I hope that by coming to this channel that I can provide a type of environment in which you are comfortable in talking about sensitive topics in a way that you're not going to be ridiculed if you take one side over the other. Regardless of what I might say or how opinionated or animated I might get, this is still going to be the same place you've always came to watch me give my opinions, or watch an anime, or watch me play a game, or something like that. With that having been said, please take care of each other, regardless of who you voted for. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so very much for the people who have stuck around, for the people who respected my viewpoints, or I have respect my viewpoints, even if you didn't agree with it. And thank you very much for not judging me too harshly on things I've said so far. And I hope we can get back to normality on this channel, because I want to get back to playing video games. I want to get back to watching the anime reactions. I want to get back to all that stuff. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much. And be kind to one another. My name's JD Shadow, and that just happened. And by the way, in 2020, we can all vote for Kanye West anyway.